Hello my Foonatics, it's Fufu here, and today I am bringing you week 6 of the PPL for Mewcastle United. This week we go off against Liam, who is in charge of West Chan United. Please check his channel out, it will be linked in the description below. So, as with previous weeks, I'm going to talk about the team a bit first. So if you're just here for the battle, please find the timestamp in the description, which you can skip this bit. But if you're a cool dude or a cool dudette, I'm probably the first person to say that in like 20 years, and I sincerely apologise, I don't know what came over me. But anyway, yeah, if you want to find out what I've been planning, then stick around for the team builder stuff that will happen right now. So, as I normally do, I looked over Liam's draft and I tried to identify what would be able to switch in on a Tyrantrum head smash, and he had very few things, to be fair. He had 2 resists in Morwile. If it's a defensive Morwile, then it can actually take head smashes relatively well. And also Hitmonchan, which is pretty much 2-hit KO'd even if it's max defense. So Morwile is looking like the most likely thing he'll bring to check it, but with Morwile being the only thing, if I can force him to bring that, that's pretty good, because Morwile, defensive Morwile, I feel is quite easy to handle with my team. And so yeah, we're going Banded Tyrantrum this week, guys. Get hype, because I know that you've been wanting to see a massive threat Tyrantrum come along. So this is Banded Tyrantrum. This could well be the week. Look out for those head smashes. I went with Earthquake as coverage because it actually 2-hit KOs a defensive Morwile, so even if defensive Morwile comes, it's actually not a switch in to Tyrantrum, which is pretty fantastic. The other moves were just options. Dragon Claw was pretty much, if I don't need to go for the head smash, it's 100% accurate, so that's the only reason that it's there. And then, but it's likely that head smash will be the thing that I click if Morwile has been dealt with. And then Zen Headbutt was there to hit things like Hitmonchan a bit harder, I suppose, and actually Mega Venusaur as well, and maybe get some flinches. But those 2 slots were probably a bit superfluous. Basically, I Earthquake until Morwile is dead, and then I head smash everything. That's the plan anyway. So yeah, things I have to watch out for. Mamoswine will outspeed. I'm adamant banned, so if Mamoswine comes, it's going to outspeed. It could have the Ice Shard as well anyway, so I have to be careful of that. And there's also the issue of him having lots of things that do outspeed Tyrantrum and can get big hits off anyway, like Staraptor gets close combat. As I said, Mamoswine will outspeed. Mew obviously can have the coverage. Alakazam can have Dazzling Gleam, so I need to watch out for those kind of things. So the next Pokemon that I wanted to bring was something that could deal a bit with Morwile. If it's a defensive Morwile that's coming, I'm guessing it'll probably have Rocks, because that's one role that Morwile can do pretty well. So I wanted a reliable hazard removal, and obviously Mega Blastoise is going to be coming, and it's going to be a rapid spinning Mega Blastoise. I know that it can switch in on Morwile pretty easily. I also know that Vaporeon is probably going to come as the switch into Blastoise, so I want to stick Toxic on there. Scald is too useful not to bring, even though Wartrabs or Vaporeon is coming. I'll just have to play around that. But it OHKOs Mamoswine, even with this set, which is an almost max defensive set. It OHKOs Mamoswine. It does massive damage even to specially defensive Mew if it comes. I don't see specially defensive Mew coming. I think more likely specially defensive Vaporeon, maybe defensive Mew, but Dark Pulse does min 40% to a specially defensive Mew. If it's defensive, it's going to be doing even more, and that's without any special attack investment. It's absolutely ridiculous. And then obviously Toxic for the Vaporeon. Rapid Spin to get rid of the hazards. So I went defensive so that I could maybe switch in on Mamoswine if that turns out to be his Stealth Rocket, and Blastoise I just wanted to be able to take hits, because this week I'm actually going quite offensive, so I needed something to take a hit, and Blastoise I decided just to invest on that side of things, even though he still hits really hard. The next Pokemon is a bit stranger. At the moment, defensive Mega Venusaur could be a problem, because it really does actually just switch in. Well, it switches in on Blastoise, it doesn't switch in on Tyrantrum, but it can easily eat at least 1 hit from Tyrantrum. So I wanted something to switch in on Mega Venusaur, and that is going to be Safety Goggles Jirachi. This set is a bit strange. I need Stealth Rock for this match, So I needed a Stealth Rocker, and Tyrantrum was already taken up. Nidoqueen doesn't have a great matchup. Like Mamoswine takes it on really well, and he's got some good switch-ins as well, like Defensive Mew with Psyshock basically, and Alakazam can have Psyshock too, so it just didn't, Nidoqueen didn't feel like a great matchup this time. So anyway, I've got this is a switch-in for Venusaur. It can take hits relatively well because it's max HP, and I went with Speed because I wanted to be able to outspeed Mamoswine and 2-hit KO with Iron Head with that potential 60% flinch chance. Heart Stamping the Venusaur, Heart Stamp is more accurate than Zen Headbutt and has a higher flinch chance again. I'm hoping that I can status Venusaur, maybe get a burn on it with Blastoise's Scald if it tries to switch in, or alternatively I do have another way of burning it, and then Heart Stamp flinch with the burn should be able to kill that relatively easily. And then the final move is Healing Wish because I have offensive threats here. If I can keep them healthy, then hopefully I'll be able to just keep the pressure on. So that's the reasoning behind the set. It turns out this is probably my only switch into a Staraptor. If it's Adamant, Reckless, Banned, then it could be touch and go whether I can actually take 2. But if it's Adamant Banned, I outspeed it, so that's alright. If it's Jolly Banned, I should be able to take 2 hits, so that's not a problem anyway. But then it's a speed tie, and if it's Scarf, I should easily be able to take a hit. I should easily be able to take 2 hits, maybe even 3. So that's the reasoning behind the Durant set. It's a bit strange. Basically, I just need it for rocks and to Iron Head and Heart Stamp. There's things that I might not be able to take out otherwise. The next Pokemon is very necessary. I've taken care of a lot of Liam's bulk with the previous Pokemon. Like Vaporeon's going to get Toxic. I can wear down Venusaur with Jirachi. This thing can head smash anything that's slower than it and take out Morwell with the Earthquakes. But what I am scared of, very, very scared of, might I add, is the offense that Liam can bring. Staraptor, as I've said, my only real switch in is Jirachi, which it takes a massive amount anyway. I'm scared of the Alakazam because at this point it outspeeds the other things and can hit them super effectively, which is not great. And just other things as well, like Galvantula. Scarf Galvantula can still be a problem, and Mamoswine as well could be a problem, although Blastoise does take that on relatively well. So anyway, the way to beat offense for me, I felt, was a banded Talonflame. So here is my second choice band user of this team. So as you can see, I am going quite offensive with this. I don't, just because he's got so much offense, there's not really at any point bringing a load of walls, I felt. So with this set, Brave Bird does a lot of damage. He's only got 1 resist in Morwell, but obviously Morwell is his thing to switch in on Tyrantrum. So I'm pressuring it with 2 Pokemon, one of which will hopefully take it down, and the other one can then hopefully take advantage of the missing Morwell. Flare Blitz is there for Morwell. U-turn just so that I can keep some momentum, maybe U-turn on Alakazam, and Tailwind is the final slot. I felt that was probably the best use of my final slot, because if Talonflame's taken a lot of damage through recoil or rocks or something, it's not going to be able to clean up because it doesn't have enough HP to take more recoil. I can actually just instead come in, set up a Tailwind, and then sweep with something else like a head smashing Tyrantrum. So I felt like that was the best use of that. With these EVs, I outspeed the Galvantula, I think. I obviously, because I'm not jolly, I won't outspeed a timid Alakazam, but timid Alakazam may well not be coming because it doesn't outspeed anything else. Like my Jolteon will obviously outspeed that anyway, so he may as well just go modest and outspeed my next slowest thing. But I don't know. I'm probably not going to risk trying to outspeed an Alakazam and do U-turn on it. Anyways, so yeah, that's going to be really important if he does bring an offensive team, getting the priority Brave Bird in. The next thing I decided to bring was Jolteon. This thing I decided to bring for a couple of reasons. One, I liked the idea of Volt switching to force out a threat. If he goes into a wall, I can Volt switch on it and then go into my Tyrantrum to then get a kill. I put Hidden Power Steel on there to hit Mamoswine super effectively, and yeah, the Shadow Ball because I wanted something else to hit Mew. Mew is really scary. I don't have great ways of taking it down if it is bulky. If it sets up some Calm Minds or something, it could be a big threat. but I'm hoping that having an expert belt Shadow Ball and a practically stabbed Dark Pulse because of Mega Launcher on the Blastoise will be enough to take that out, but I did want something else to hit it super effectively. And the EVs on this set, I've got enough speed, I've got enough speed to outspeed Timid Alakazam. I felt like I needed to do that. I was thinking maybe Modest is coming, maybe Timid, but I need to be able to outspeed Timid because I need something other than Talonflame to be able to break Timid Alakazam's Sash, so that then it can be killed by something else. So yeah, this can do that, and it's also something to hit Vaporeon really hard, but mainly so that I could Volt Switch on his defensive mons to get into my scary offense, basically, if he did bring a more defensive team. The other option here in this place, I was feeling Hariyama could have come as a more reliable Scald switch in, because he can obviously eat the burn, but the issue with that is he gets hit super effectively by the bird and super effectively by Psyshock from Mew and Psyshock from Alakazam, so I didn't feel like it was a very good thing bringing him. And then the last Pokemon is Gourgeist. Now this was a toss-up between Gourgeist and Togekiss, and I went with this Gourgeist. I'll explain the set first. Basically, it takes on Mamoswine because it can eat an Icicle Crash with the Yachi Berry and hopefully get a burn off. If it manages to do that, then it'll be able to Synthesis the next turn and actually beat the Mamoswine one-on-one. If I'm not feeling as confident about dodging a flinch with an Icicle Crash and then hitting a Will-O-Wisp, I can just hit Seed Bomb to get the damage on, so that then something can revenge, like a Hidden Power Steel Jolteon or a Brave Birding Talonflame, something like that. But it just gives me some assurance. It also is able to Will-O-Wisp potential Mega Venusaur switch in, which would be really good to whistle it down. Really, really helpful. And Shadow Sneak is there to get damage on Mew to break Alakazam's Sash. So it does actually do a number of different things, potentially. I went with Gourgeist Large because I wanted to outspeed Vaporeon, and rather than go Super and invest in speed, Large is actually bulkier just because it's got higher base speed, and then I can invest more in its HP, so it ends up being bulkier. Togekiss, what that would have given me is potentially a better Alakazam switch in, or a Mew switch in, stuff like that. I could defog with it. Air Slash is only resisted by Mawile, so that would be a good stab move to use. And then I could run something like Thunder Wave to spread paralysis so that Tyrantrum could do more damage. But I went with this guy because my team was relatively weak to the Mamoswine, so I felt like this might be more useful, and then having the priority as well to break Sashes, because Sash Alakazam could be a problem. So that's basically the thinking behind my team. I hope you understand, and I hope you're with me, and I hope that you're looking forward to watching this match. Okay, so we can see the team that Liam brought. Interestingly, we don't see Venusaur. We do see the Mawile, which I did think was coming. No Galvantula is pretty good as well, but it's basically a very offensive team. Really, Mew and Vaporeon are the only viable walls. Oh, and I suppose Mawile, but Mawile is pretty frail actually. Without the Intimidate, it's hit really hard on the physical and special sides. So yeah, that's interesting. We've both gone quite offensive with our teams. I was thinking that my Blastoise is a good lead. It's a decent matchup against anything other than maybe Mew and Alakazam, because they can hit me on the special side with super effective moves, but everything else I can probably handle with Blastoise. And just in case maybe a Mamoswine or Mawile Stealth Rock lead, I wanted to go with my Blastoise. So we can see how that turns out. But yeah, just again, check out Liam, his link is in the description. You can go there to his channel to see his side of the battle and what he thought was going on. So I do lead with my Blastoise, and we see here that the Mamoswine does come out, so that is a great lead for me. I know that he's probably going to be switching, even if he's sashed, because a Scald will break through that sash. So I'm just going to go for Toxic, because I think the Vaporeon's likely to come in, and you can see that is what happens. Even if he had stayed in there, it probably meant that he was a Sash Mamoswine going for Rock, so I'd be able to Toxic that, and that would at least break the Sash. So it wouldn't have been the worst move anyway, even if he did stay in. But I do get the Toxic on the Vaporeon, and that is brilliant. Now, I don't have amazing switches in on Scold, but I kind of want to gauge damage with my Blastoise as well, so I'm just going to go for a Dark Pulse to see how much that does to Vaporeon. I see the Scold here and get quite nervous because if my Blastoise gets burned this early, it wouldn't be amazing, but I do not, which is brilliant. That's really good news for me, and with the Dark Pulse damage and the Toxic damage racking up, I feel like Vaporeon is going to want to have to Wish, because if I do go for Dark Pulse this turn, it will be down at about half health, so I take this opportunity to go into my Jolteon, which is great. And now I'm going to Volt Switch, because either they're going to Protect and I don't want to reveal my Hidden Power Steel, or it's going to switch into the Mamoswine, which will do a hefty chunk, but Mamoswine will then get the Wish back anyway, so I won't be 2-hit KOing anytime soon. So Volt Switch is the most sensible play, because even if he goes into Mamoswine, there's no point revealing the Hidden Power just yet. So I felt like that was the best play, but I'm going to switch out right now. I'm going to go back into my Blastoise in case he wants to set up rocks or anything like that. I can't have rocks on my side of the field. Because he has such an offensive team, I know that Talonflame is really important to check that offense in case he's like Scarfed Staraptor, to be able to break the Sash if it's got one. We see here he gets the crit. It's not the end of the world for me, really. I don't know what he's predicting there, though. He could have gone for an EQ, but maybe thought that my bird would come in, but that would be far too risky, and I wouldn't have made that play. So I'm able to fire off a Dark Pulse here. I don't think that I can go for a Scald, obviously. Vaporeon's still around. But with this pressure with the Toxic damage and the Dark Pulse damage, I'm doing quite a lot to the Vaporeon. I felt like going for another Dark Pulse, maybe to get the flinch on the Wish turn, and maybe just to see if I could do enough damage, which I just can't because Toxic damage isn't racking up high enough yet. So on this turn I feel like it's a pretty safe switch into Jolteon, because I think that the Vaporeon's going to go for a Protect. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch into Jolteon, and that's indeed what happens. The Vaporeon goes for a Protect. And I feel like now this is probably a turn to go for Hidden Power Steel, because if Mamoswine comes in, I can 2-hit KO that. And I don't think the Vaporeon will want to stay in on my Electric type moves. So I'm going to go for a Hidden Power Steel here and hopefully catch that Mamoswine. But actually the Vaporeon stays in, so I'm unfortunately going to have to take a Scald to the face, and that's unfortunate because it potentially puts me in Ice Shard range. But we didn't see a Life Orb on the Mamoswine, and with my HP investment on the Jolteon, I maybe will be able to live one. It will be interesting to see. But anyway, yeah, I'm going to show that I'm not choice here and go for the Volt Switch. If Liam had made the play into Mamoswine there, that would have been a good play, but I don't think that would be an appropriate play because he doesn't know what item my Jolteon is yet until he saw me switch up move right there. So I'm able to take out the Vaporeon, which is great because it's one of the bulkiest Pokemon on his team, but equally, it wasn't the biggest threat to my team. He's still got all of his huge threats, so I need to watch out for that. Now, Morwell comes in as I have Volt switched into my Talonflame. I don't want to U-turn in case he might be Rocky Helmet or something like that, and as I say, I really don't want any extra damage on my Talonflame. So I'm just going to hard switch into my Blastoise, thinking he might go for rocks now, and this does turn out to be his Stealth Rocker. I really can't afford those rocks because, as I say, Talonflame is too important, can't allow it to get any recoil. If it gets too much recoil, it won't be able to take so much from recoil from its Brave Birds. So Mew comes in here, getting me thinking that Mew probably has something super effective to hit me with. If it's got Grass Knot, that will do a huge amount. So I'm going to switch into Jirachi, thinking maybe that's coming way away. I really want to get Rocks up, because that'll make sweeping later on with maybe Jolteon or Talonflame a lot easier. But I see Nasty Plot and poop my pants a little. That is terrifying. I still stick to the plan and go for Stealth Rocks, because I'll probably be able to live one hit of anything and hopefully get a hit off on this Mew just to weaken it a little bit. But no! That just OHKOs, and I get very scared because it turns out this is a Life Orb Mew, and I'm really worried about this. I'm going to go into Talonflame now to get a banded U-turn off, which will do a lot of damage. And then I was thinking, if I go into... anything is pretty much a sack right now, unless he's going for a stab move, unless he's going for a Psyshock, which Gourgeist will be able to live, and I can get a Shadow Sneak off and hopefully kill after 2 turns of Life Orb, or what even, yeah, maybe even kill. But he just goes for the Shadow Ball! So that's really unfortunate. As I say, anything else would have been a sack anyway, and this probably was the least important thing on my team, but I'm really upset because Gourgeist is one of my favourite things on my draft, and I hate seeing it go down like that. So really sad. But anyway, I go back into Talonflame, and I am just going to go for a U-turn here because the Morwell is still around, and Liam makes a really good play of saving Mew for maybe to do some work later, or maybe just as death fodder later, which is always useful to have, as I do U-turn out. And I feel like my best play here is to go into Tyrantrum, because without the Intimidate, a banded Tyrantrum is able to OHKO a defensive Morwell. So yeah, hopefully Tyrantrum will be able to take out the thing that was designed to be its switch-in one hit. So we can see if that happens. We go for the Earthquake, and it just drops the Morwell, which is amazing. I love when my things take out the thing that was brought to stop them. Like in this match as well, Blastoise pretty much took down the Vaporeon with the Toxic damage and the Dark Pulse damage. It didn't really need Jolteon to finish the job. I'm really sorry, guys, but I felt like I couldn't predict around this Earthquake, around this Mamoswine. I sack my Tyrantrum, so still no head smashes. I'm really sorry, but I couldn't switch in. Blastoise might have taken too much. I didn't want to risk being 2-hit KO'd by an Earthquake. I don't think it does a 2-hit KO, but I just didn't want to risk taking that damage. And I definitely couldn't risk my Talonflame, because as you've already seen, it's way too important for me to check some of the offense. But now that Morwell's gone down, I have seen the opportunity. Talonflame definitely can sweep. The only thing stopping it right now is the Alakazam Sash. You see the Alakazam come in here, and I'm like, I just need to stay in. I can't predict around this Alakazam. And Blastoise actually lives an Energy Ball. Unbelievable. I really thought that Blastoise would be going down there, but it does manage to live the Energy Ball. The Psychic comes out here. I could have potentially predicted the Energy Ball and gone into Talonflame, but I really didn't want to take the damage, and if you went for a Psychic, that would be awful. But I thought my Blastoise would have dropped to it, but he didn't, and he's amazing. Blastoise I'm having so much fun with right now in this format. He's doing so well. And the partnership of Blastoise and Talonflame is just magical. It's so great. So anyway, I'm able to take out the Alakazam with my Talonflame there. And now the Mamoswine comes in. Because I did get the Rocks up, it is now a definite KO with Brave Bird. If I hadn't got those Rocks up with Jirachi, this whole section of the match would have been so much harder. So though it may have looked a bit ridiculous at the time going for Rocks against the +2 Mew, it just means that this can happen. Talonflame is just going to clean up at the end of the match because of the Rocks damage taken by both Mamoswine and Staraptor. So it was really close at the end because I only had a half health Jolteon left, and it turned out that Mamoswine was scarfed, so it wouldn't have been able to clean up because of the scarfed Mamoswine. So I did need Talonflame all that time. That's why I was sacking. I felt like I was sacking so many things. Like I sacked my Jirachi, I sacked my Gourgeist, I sacked my Tyrantrum when the Mamoswine came in, but it's just because I didn't feel like I could afford to take the damage on Talonflame, and I still think that that was the right choice. Even though I paid for it in differential and it was only a 2-0 at the end, it meant that the Talonflame could do what I wanted it to do. So that was a really, really good match. That was one of my favourite matches of the entire league, just because it was so offensive and so fast-paced and really fun. Liam, I think, made all the right choices in bringing offense because it was what I was most scared of. But it just happened that once the Morwell went down, then my Talonflame basically could just sweep. So I was really happy with how that match went. And yeah, Talonflame and Blastoise are just always performing. They're always doing really well. I don't think they've ever not done their job, so really happy how that went. So, Mewcastle United, 6 weeks, we're over halfway now, and we're still undefeated. Really feels great. Yeah, really happy with how everything's going. It does feel a bit like I'm just waiting for that inevitable loss at some point. But I'm just playing, I'm really happy with how it's gone, and yeah, we'll just take each week as it comes. Hopefully we can keep doing what we're doing, but if not, it doesn't matter too much because I'm just really enjoying the draft. I didn't ever really anticipate it to do this well, but I'm really glad that I took that little leap of faith and went a bit more experimental with things that I haven't tried out in draft format yet. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I have been foofootoo, you've been awesome, and hopefully see you next time. Goodbye.